So, you want to see a video of the White Western Star versus the Fleet Star. Awesome. So, both these trucks both have four-wheel drive and diff lock on them. They both have snorkels on them. Obviously, the Western Star's is higher, but that's pretty much it. The Western Star's higher on that. Anyway, they both have the same off-road tires. This one has smaller ones, which sucks, but this is a smaller truck, so you gotta keep that in mind. Same with this one has 47s, I believe. This one has 45s for tires. Anyway, so the challenge is pretty much, well, the challenge slash comparison, whatever you want to call it, is pretty simple. First off, both these trucks gotta get to where the challenge starts. So, obviously, it's gonna be blue versus red. Why? Because red versus blue. That's why. Anyway, let's drive to that challenge. So, both the trucks made it here perfectly fine. Now, the fleet, they both, well, let's start with this. They both use the same amount of fuel. They both use 30 liters of fuel, which I'd imagine is pretty comparison. I tried to, for both of them, I tried to only use, and I only did, use four-wheel drive. I got both of them to one spot. Same-ish spot, one's a little farther than the other. Now, this thing doesn't look like it used 30 liters of fuel because I sat here and idled and it ran out of fuel, but that's my own fault. I did it with both the trucks, so don't worry. But anyway, now the Fleet Star took a little bit of damage, which even I'll admit could have been chalked up to just me being bad at driving. That could have been perfectly it. But the Western Star didn't take any damage at all, which is mostly what I was looking for on that route. They both handled it pretty fine, pretty interchangeable for that route right there. Now what we're gonna do, after I get both these trucks repaired and refueled, which is what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drive a truck down here to get them repaired and refueled. If you're curious, that truck is gonna be the Taiga to get them both refueled and repaired. But the next challenge is to get across this river basically twice. If I remember, there's two parts of it you have to get over it. This part and another part. So that's gonna be the next challenge after I get both these trucks, well, one of them repaired and both of them refueled. So, I'll be back. Alright, so both the trucks are repaired and refueled. I use that instead because I'm going to use the Tiger for something else. Anyway, so, the river crossing. Well, the Fleet Star is going to go first, and we're going to see how it goes. I'm going to actually be on my headset the entire time this time, so no cutaway. Now, for this, I'm going to start off with just four-wheel drive, or all-wheel drive, not four-wheel drive, because this truck is technically already four-wheel drive. So far, she's handled it pretty fine. Doing good. Feels like she ain't struggling too much. Got a little wheel slip, but that's normal. No diff lock on, so, and water. Well, by the looks of that, she got out pretty fine. I believe that's actually the only river crossing part. Just make sure. Ah, nope, there's this little spot over here. I did remember right. Oh, no. Yep. Yep, that one did. Pretty decent. It only used about 10-ish, 9 liters of fuel, not bad. So let's go to the Western Star. Alright, you already got your four-wheel drive on, so I gotta turn it on. And the Fleet Star did not use a diff lock. So if this thing has to use, if I have to use a diff lock on this, that is a point against the Western Star. If I have to use diff lock. Got that pretty well. I think that went a little faster than the Fleet Star. I think it did, but I'm gonna have to look back and see. That was kind of hard to tell. I think this truck went a little faster than the Fleet Star. Bunk. So about the same amount of fuel, same amount of everything. From what I could tell from that, though, I think the Western Star actually went a little bit faster, but it's hard to tell. So far, they're pretty much even. The Western Star is winning by a slight little bit, but not by much. So for the most part, I'd say they're pretty even. For now. So, I'm going to get both these trucks to the next little part, which is going to be a lot more difficult for both of them. So, I will see you then. And that giant trailer over there with an oil rig drill. That is the thing, we have to get through this. Both these trucks are completely refueled. That Taga obviously drove it down here. So first, it's actually going to be the Fleet Star. Alright, probably put that on. And do that. Now, both of them are going to have both their diff lock and all-wheel drive on through this entire thing. More than likely, is what I'm going to do. Now, attach. I don't know which one I think is going to win on this. I think the Western Star is going to beat this, just because it's... oh well. Oh yeah, and Tiger's obviously going to have to drive both the things back. This back twice, so there's that. So, let's get on with this, shall we? Now this, I'm going to completely deactivate my headset. Excuse me. And all that, just because this is probably going to take a while. So, yeah. So, with that done and out... Oh, this is a hard one, again. Because both trucks did pretty well, but I'll make my points. The Fleet Star had problems turning. A lot more than the Western Star did. Now, don't get me wrong. The Western Star had about 2 moments that I could really tell where it just didn't want to turn. It just wouldn't turn. Same, but the Fleet Star had that a lot more. It's probably because the Fleet Star's shorter, but it's because the Fleet Star kept getting lifted up in the front that it couldn't really turn at certain parts. The Western Star did a lot better with that, with the turning aspect. Getting through it, they both did fine. They did it perfectly fine. I honestly think the Fleet Star did win a little faster, but I think that is more of the Western Star just being bigger. That could be it, but I don't know. But yeah, so control-wise and getting through that, I would have to give it to the Western Star. The Western Star handled more solidly than the Fleet Star. Now, the Fleet Star did go faster, but... For that, I would more want control than speed, because I'm not doing any kind of scouting or anything like that. I'd rather have a control to be able to pull the load and control it. Yeah, I think the Western Star did better on this one. So the Western Star is gonna probably win this, because the last challenge I'm gonna do is gonna be a hill climb. Not here, it's gonna be somewhere else. I'm gonna move the trailer and both these trucks. And they're gonna pull this up a hill. So, there's that. So, I'll be getting to that once I move both these things. And bonus points to the fucking Taiga. Because the Taiga just doesn't give a crap. Anyway, I'll be back and getting to that. So the last challenge is going up this entire route. This entire route right here. All the way up it, and that'll be it. Now, I'm doing the Western Star pretty much because it was already attached to it, and I dragged it here with that. It was just easier to do. So, you know the drill. I'm going to attempt to do this whole thing. Now, both trucks are going to have everything on, like this. They're both completely full. They're going to be both completely full, so if one gets all the way to the top, but the other one doesn't, that's pretty obvious. If they both get up to it, it's going to be either fuel consumption or something like that to show it, or it's going to be how they handle. More than likely, it's going to come down to how they handle going up this hill. So, I'm going to cut myself off again, and I'm going to do this fast. Well, that pretty much described how that one went. It flipped, it did that, so this is as far as it got. Shame. So pretty much, the Fleet Star just, A, doesn't have to flip over, and B, has to get over to here. Shouldn't be that hard, right? Let's find out. So yeah, I'm not even gonna do the last, the last challenge, the hill challenge. I'm not gonna deal with it. Just, I'm mad enough as it is, and I don't want to deal with having to pick it up with a crane, get the crane down there, and all that. Which I could do, I really don't want to deal with it. So the last challenge is just going to be moot for the hill challenge. So we're just going to go off of what I've already found. I'm probably going to have that hill thing with the white Western Star going up it still, because reasons, but anyway. So, in comparison, they're pretty similar. I gotta give them that. They're pretty interchangeable for most parts, but I gotta give it to the Western Star. Mostly because of, with the International, with it being smaller and being lighter, it's harder to turn. That's literally what this came down to. Is the International is a lot harder to turn than the Western Star, mostly because since the Western Star is longer than it, and it has more of a lever action to it, so it levers more to the front, so it has more force going on it in the front of it, no matter what kind of trail you have on it. Off-road, they're pretty similar, pretty much. So, that's what I've come to say. Other than that, I'm not going off of how much fuel they have, because that's obvious. The White Western Star has more fuel, but I'm not giving it to, because I'm not giving the win to the Western Star. I'm giving the win to the Western Star because of how, pretty much just how the International turns. The Western Star, I feel like you have more control with than the International. Now, the International you can use perfectly fine through pretty much anything you can use the Western Star through. But still, the Western Star just has so much better grip to the road, is the best way to describe it. It turns better, it grips the road a little bit better. It's probably because it's heavier. Pretty much it's because it's heavier and longer. But other than that, they're pretty similar trucks. They burn pretty much the same amount of fuel, they go about the same speed. I think the International is actually a little faster. But other than that, yeah. The Western Star only wins because it turns better. That's pretty much it. And personally also, and for this game, you should rather have control over anything else. You really don't need speed. Looking at the American military truck. The AK, whatever the heck. The AKM, I think's what it is. That thing. But yeah. The Western Star, I think, won. Well, that's all I got, so I gotta go edit this and I'm gonna have a bitchy day. But anyway, I hope you liked it. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff if you want me to do more, blah blah blah. Bye now.